rather than this anger pushing up against sort of thing.
Yeah.
My tool to create and to inspire and to work from the ground up rather than just saying, I don't want that, I don't like that.
I think that's absolutely wonderful that you're able to do that and make that happen and make that shift. And you are right. We invite in, what we're radiating out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. So how do you work with your clients? How do you package this, your belief system and what you're doing? Do you do coaching, consulting? How do you structure selling, the belief system to people who need to learn it and practice it? How do you package it?
Well, it's both. It's got a foundation, and, a lot of the process is really intuitive because people are where they are, and I think it's so important to meet people right where they're at. And so, some people aren't feeling the commitment level, and maybe, so I have a 3-session package that I call a get her done package, where, you take this thing, the thing that's been bugging you for a while, the thing that that you need to do that you've been putting off, and we just dig in there and we get her done, and we look at, like we were talking about earlier, those root causes, those root unconscious thoughts that are keeping you from making that step forward, because that's all it is. We already have what we need. We just forget, and we make up a bunch of stories about how we're smaller than we are, and then we don't move forward. And so sometimes it takes someone able to see, no, I see your power. I see that you're awesome. I see this passion bubbling out of you, for them to make that step. And so for people that just want to be shaken up a little bit and aren't really to take the big commitment, I have the 3-session package, and I do that in 6 weeks to kind of just get in there once every 2 weeks and help them get through. And I've already seen some incredible results with that. And then for the people that really get that this is a commitment to themselves, I do a 6-month coaching package where it's 2 sessions a month, and I offer affirmative prayer support. And each month has a theme, so we can really start from the ground up and, what is your passion, what is your purpose, what are you here for, and then what's in the way, how can we get that out of the way and really help you reveal that authentic self and step into your purpose. And so, that package is the one that I've seen some incredible growth on and that I would really love to have some more people plug into, because it's, I call that the radical transformation package, because it really is, once we invite and our passion and our purpose into our life, it's kind of like we start a roller coaster that, is going to be riding for a while before it gets to the stop, because the universe listens to intention. And once we set intention, stuff starts happening.
Yes, absolutely. So do you do any kind of longer term than 6 months, so that, like with my Better, Smarter, Richer, Steady groups, what I do is I offer booster shots. And so once somebody's been part of a Better, Smarter, Richer cohort, they're in my alum group, and I keep inviting them back, usually what would it be, twice a quarter for a booster shot. And so people can come back and, talk about what's going on for them and, plug back in. And people really love that. And so do you do anything like that?
I haven't set anything up like that yet. I am very interested in group stuff. Ronnie Noyes, she's the local DIY marketer, part of her mastermind group, and I love her model on how she set up, the ability to both have a group setting and get that one-on-one, sort of flash coaching. And so I'm still figuring out how to work that into my model. For right now, I'm just focused on the coaching programs, and then I also do classes here locally at the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. And
okay.
So, those are my main focus right now. I am, moving forward, I'm interested in doing public speaking and definitely some group work. I'm figuring out how to work that in. And I'm also currently working on creating an e-challenge focused on black and white thinking.
Really good. What's an e-challenge?
It's an e-course that's kind of already set up, so you can sign up whenever you want, and it leads you through, it'll be a 30-day challenge, and it leads you with video and audio and some worksheets and stuff. It sort of leads you through your own work so you can work at your own pace throughout that 30 days. And then there'll be a Facebook group where people can plug in and then chat about, how they're doing on their work. And so
oh, cool.
It's an opportunity for people to look at their, their black and white thinking that's really getting in their way and figure out how to work on that, how to get that out of the way so that they can be more available, because, Spirit's actually very spontaneous. And if we're really rigid in our thinking, we're not making a lot of room for that authentic nature to even come out.
Cool. So who would be a typical client for you? Do you have, some ideas and characteristic or attributes of somebody that, if you saw them or got talking to them, you'd say, you should contact me. You should be part of Radical.
Absolutely.
So who would be
people who identify themselves as rebels or idealists or forward thinkers, social entrepreneurs, holistic practitioners, specifically people who struggle within, participating in a system that they know does harm to the earth, and yet knowing that they need to pay their bills.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a struggle for me. I resisted money for a long time because I didn't want to participate in the world of money because it does bad stuff, and yet it also does good stuff. So, I was shooting myself in the foot. And so I would say people who have plugged into the system of work and yet feel like they're out of alignment with their values, or those people that are trying to plug into the system of work but want to do it in alignment with their values, those would be the perfect people to come see me, because I can help get those last little, cultural programming is really persnickety. It's hard to find because it's so ingrained in our culture. There are certain things that we just believe in our culture as though it's it, and it's not.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that can really keep us from moving forward and stepping into our power.
Yeah, really. So if you had to name it, what is the number one most important thing that you teach or coach around?
That you're already incredible.
Ah.
That you don't have to become something or chip away something or add something to yourself. Really, the only thing that's happened is you've piled a bunch of false beliefs on yourself, and that's all that needs to move. The essence of you is already amazing.
Oh, that's very nice. So how do you manifest that in your own life, Starr?
I'd say that's an ongoing process. It's like this expand sense of self and then fill it in, and then expand sense of self and then fill it in, looking back over the years. It's really a process of becoming more and more comfortable in my own skin.
Mm-hmm. So that makes you a wonderful teacher because you're working on your own stuff at the same time.
All the time. I actually got told by a fellow energy worker that he didn't need to assign me any homework because he knows that this is my life obsession.
Yeah.
I guess I'll take it as a compliment. So,
yes.
It's just the continuing, and the other way that I manifest that in my own life is surrounding myself with people who lift me up rather than tear me down. Yeah.
You're very articulate about this, so I know you're working on it really hard. That's kind of nice. And, I think that because you're working on yourself as you're helping other people work on themselves, then you can tell stories and like when this happened for me, or let me share you what my journey is doing right now, and that's so important to talk that way because it's not out of a book, it's personally you, what's happened. So it's a big deal.
Well, and it's a reminder, I think we all walk around carrying all this stuff, and then we tell ourselves that, but nobody would understand, nobody would get it. Mm-hmm. And then we isolate. And so. Yeah.
And then, of course, the minute we're thinking that's what happens.
Exactly. Yeah. I guarantee that there's tons of people that have been through, similar, not exactly, but similar stuff to where I've been through, to where my story can help, or, just knowing that I moved through it can help them to know that they did, that they can.
Yeah. I think that if you can find ways to keep working with people over a longer term, I mean, maybe they become a member of Radical Revelations and, get to check back in once a quarter or something like that, or they pay an annual membership fee or they, get regular podcasts from you or something like that. I think that would be great because I think a 3-week program or a 6-month program is really great to get people started, but helping them stay on the path. You said it's your ongoing life work. Well, it's ongoing life work for everybody. And I think that you would really, I'm coaching you here, I think you would really benefit by creating some longer-term ways to be in relationship, that they could plug in periodically. Maybe, as I say, maybe an annual membership or something that gives them a newsletter or, a group phone conversation once a month or something, where they can keep touching back in would really, this is a business, would help your business.
Yes,
anyway.
Thank you for that background.
Yeah, I think it would be good, and I think you could build your tribe. Like I keep trying to build the tribe of people who are solopreneurs and into better, smarter, richer. And I think you could do the same thing with Radical Revelations. I think you could build a membership base and people who are then talking about you and sharing and speaking the terms and reinforcing one another and helping each other be strong. And you could be the center of that, which would be really make it a really nice business for you, as well as support your belief system and the work that you're doing. Anyway,
yeah, no, I love that. I'm very close to community, so that model moves me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I can't help doing business coaching. It's what I do, So
no, I can't help walking around talking about the law of attraction. That's what I do.
So do you enjoy being in business for yourself? I mean, this is a business, of course.
Yeah, I do. I have to say it's been a little bit of a shift in mindset. I homeschooled my son for 10 years, and I'm still homeschooling him. It's just that now that he's 10, he doesn't necessarily want me hovering around all the time. And, there's things that I would like to, be able to do differently that we haven't been doing in our life model up until now. And so it's really just called me to expand that. And I'd say the best part about it is getting to meet other entrepreneurs. I have just loved the people that I am meeting. It has blown me away that there are so many incredible, awake, compassionate people that are merging business with their values. I just love that.
It is happening. I agree with you. It's happening everywhere. And the move to solopreneurship is really making that happen. When you're in a one-person business doing what you love, for so long people didn't think they could make a living doing what they love. And what we've discovered are these principles of solopreneurship where people can be very financially successful in a solo business. And there you are, which means that you can have a values-based business, a passion-based business, a purpose-based business, and, deliver it out in the world just like you're doing. I mean, there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are, like you. And one of the things that has made it possible, of course, is all the e-tools that are out there. And they're just fabulous. You can do things on the phone, you can do things on Facebook, you can do things, on all kinds of teleconferences, and it's just easy to do that where it didn't used to be. So
there's lots of options, and there's a lot of people promoting ethical marketing and triple bottom line, and a different way to do business. I have a background in telemarketing, and I have to say, when I first started doing calls for my business, I was like, oh, my God, Starr, don't turn on your telemarketing voice. I didn't want to step back into that old way of doing sales and business because that's not how I want to run my business. And so, that's been the other thing that's helped me to step into, being an entrepreneur is knowing that there are other options in doing marketing and sales than the old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
I would have never done this if I was going to do it like that.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. The tools that we have available to us now. I mean, it's just a perfect time to be in a purpose-driven, principle-driven solo business where you're able to take your belief system and package it and send it out to the world. And as you say, there's so many people into working with the environment and working with improving things and working with making things better. And so rather than attack, a frontal attack of the old paradigm of business, what people are doing is, just creating alternatives that work. And, that's how things change. You show people that there are alternatives that can be ethically done and be financially successful.
Yeah, and
that's
viable,
a good thing.
and